Om 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 Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamasto Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. Boliye Shri Vedavyasa Bhagavan ki Jai. Hari Om. Today's Yaksha Prashna is the 20. I do not know what number it is. 33rd, I think. Yeah. 33rd episode of Yaksha Prashna. Question number 108 to 111. So Yaksha is asking Yudhishthira, Yaksha uvacha kohankara iti proktaha kasya dambhav prakirtitaha kim tad daivam param proktam kim tad paishunyam uchyate. Yudhishthira uvacha mahajnanam ahankaro dambho dharmo dhvajochrayah Daivam dana phalam proktam paishunyam paradushanam. Kaha ahankaraha iti proktaha. Ahankara is ahamkarta iti ahamkaraha. The one that says I to everything, meaning it refers to the body and says I, refers to the mind and says I, refers to the intellect and says I. And so if we do not say I intellect, but we say I am brilliant or I am dumb. We do not say I mind, we say I like this, I like that. We do not say I body, we say I am fat, I am thin, I am dark, I am fair, so I am tall, I am short. We do not say directly I am the body or I am the mind, but we say all these things instead. So what is ahamkaraha? Maha ajnanam ahamkaraha. Yudhishthira says the great ajnanam, the great lack of knowing is called ahamkaraha. Ahamkara is usually also referred to as a state of being very very proud about one's own self is also referred to as ahamkara. But Adi Shankaracharya in the Bhagavad Gita Shankara Bhashya, he refers to ahankara as a delusory identification with the body, mind and intellect. Because of this wrong identification, one assumes the characteristics and actions of the body, mind and intellect to be one's own. And we think I am the doer. Delusory identification means identification also has a very interesting word with reference to the mind. Identification is also loving something. When we love something, we identify ourselves completely with it. And identification also means full concentration on something. For example, when we watch a movie, we are so much concentrated on that character or the different personalities in the movie that we become one with it We cry with it, we laugh with it, we sing along with it, we express happiness with it. Our body, our body begins to move to the tunes of the movie. And so we shout with it, we whistle with it, we hear all these sounds in the movie. It is because of that individual's identification with the personality in the movie. Then many movie stars, you see the first time release of the movie is because of the identification they have with that particular actor. In Tamil Nadu, if you see, there is they also do Palabhishekam, meaning they just like how they do for Bhagavan, they do for the cutouts of the movie, which is because of identification. Identification means I don't find any difference between me and that person. We become one. And this identification happens because of love, because of respect. For so many reasons, we become one with that. So, that feeling of oneness with something is identification. And identification is also ahamkara. And when we, out of ignorance, when we begin to behave like that person, behave like as if we are the body, behave like as if we are the mind, behave like as if we are the intellect. It is complete identification with these three equipment, and that is called Mula Avidya Ajnana. Maha Ajnana means I am not identified with my true self, with my true, with the true reality of who I am. I am life, I am consciousness. The how do we know this? We do not know this because just like that we know. We know it because the Shastras say that, and the Guru says that. Because of that we know. And the Guru guides us to identify ourselves with the true reality. Instead of identifying with the true reality, we, out of ignorance of the true reality, we identify ourselves with what are all not the complete truth. What is not the complete truth? The body is not the complete truth because the truth is something that never did not exist in the past or in the present, or is something that will not exist in the future. The truth existed in the past, it exists in the present, and it will exist in the future. So, if I'm not identifying myself with something that did not exist in the past, it happened sometime, and then it is existing now in the present moment, and in the future, sometime it is going to dissolve and go away. Then I'm not identifying with the truth, I'm identifying with falsehood. Maha Ajnanam Ahamkaraha. So, what happens because of the wrong identification in our life? What happens when we don't know something completely? When we don't know what is the amount we have in our bank account in reality, and we identify with some amount of money that we have in the purse as mine, then we will lose out on a lot of money that we really have. In the same way, we do not identify with the complete power of life, with the complete power of consciousness, which is ourself, our own nature in reality. We are identified with the temporary power and temporary consciousness, which is limited by this body, and within this body is contained the mind and the intellect and everything else that we seem to have right now. When we are identified only with this, when we pander only to this, when we say this is different and everything else is different, then we are living in ignorance, and that ignorance is Maha Ajnanam, the great ignorance. Ignorance of what is in my bank account is just ignorance. Ignorance is what is the capital of Switzerland is ignorance. Ignorance is what is the capital of America is only ignorance. Ignorance of who won the Olympic Games and what medals and what is the medal tally, which country won the maximum number of medals. is just ignorance. Ignorance about in which country there is thorium deposit, or in which country there is platinum deposit in large amounts, or where do we get the most amount of oil, which is the richest country in the world. These are all only ignorance. But if I don't know who I am, that is the greatest ignorance that can ever be in this world. That is Maha Ajnanam. The next question, Kahacha Dambha Prakirtitaha. What is Dambha? Dambha in English, in ordinary English, is to show off. What do we like to show off? We like to show off something great about ourselves. Even if we show off about our money or about our knowledge, people will easily write us off saying we are a big show off. So we can really not show off about our money, because everywhere more than us there are very rich people. But Yudhishthira says, Dambhaha Dharma Dvajochryaha. Dharma Dvaja, like hoisting the flag of how good I am, how responsible I am, how dutiful I am, how compassionate I am, how great I am in my qualities, how truthful I am, or how humble I am, is called Dambha. Our qualities, letting our qualities fly high and talking about them, letting other people know that these are all the qualities I have, is called Dambha. We don't need much explanation for this. It's a very simple thing, which means we should not have Dambha. Dambho darpo bhimanascha krodha parushyameva cha partha asurim sampat. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dambha. Dambha means letting our dharma dvaja fly high, or the flag of how good I am to fly high, is an asuri sampat. It is a wealth that people who do not, who depend on the world outside for their power and their earnings and their support, and who raise their powers to find pleasures in the world, they accumulate. It is not a daivi sampat. Kim tat daivam param proktam. What is daivam or good fate? Good fate means fate can be either way. Something that is not so good for us, something that is very good for us. Daivam is something that it's like a windfall. Daivam dana phalam proktam. So danam, in the previous verse which we saw, danam, it is said, abhaya danam, or the gift of making others fearless, is the greatest danam. Daivam, what is good punya? When do we have good, a very good fate written for us? Daivam, it is a result of dana that we do. Dana can include anything. Dana in terms of giving others money, in terms of helping others in need, in terms of giving others knowledge, in terms of being very compassionate in our words to others, in terms of giving others food, in terms of giving others clothes to wear. Giving gifts of anything to others is dhanam, but the greatest dhanam is, because the greatest problem that people have in life is when they are afraid that their life will go, or their money will go, or whatever it is that they are having that will leave them. And so comforting them and providing them that kind of a security and support in that very critical moment is called dhanam. When it comes to a guru or an acharya, dhanam is when the shishya is suffering from ignorance, when the shishya is making many mistakes in life because he does not know the truth. When that great saint or great mahatma or guru gives that shishya the dhanam of vidya, of who I am, who you truly are, then that is the, that dana will give the phala of Daivam or Adrishtam. Adrishtam means we, in very unexpected moments, great windfalls come to us. We may not have many desires, but whatever we really truly want keeps coming our way all the time, very easily, flowing all the time in our direction. That is called Adrishtam. That is called Daivam. That means good fate. That person is very blessed. We say somebody is blessed when suppose they get into a bus and they get a seat to sit comfortably without anybody standing around to really ask for it or pretend for it or want it or desire for it, where we have to. Daivam is when we, it can happen in simple ways. Very great ways are also there. In very, very simple ways in our life, how does Daivam play a role? You see, there are many people who don't drive cars because they find parking lots are very difficult. But we do see many people who drive cars. At any point of time, they don't struggle for a parking lot at all. They are able to comfortably park their cars, which means they have given a lot of dhanam, they have given a lot of gifts, either in this janma or in the previous janmas, that whatever they want to do, wherever they go, whatever it is that they need, it comes their way with a lot of ease. And the 111th question, Kim tat paishunyam uchyate? Paishunyam paradushanam. What is paishunyam or pishunata? Paishunyam is the quality of backbiting and talking about others. It is a very, like, it is called, Paishunyam is also called wickedness. What is the most wicked behavior that a person can express? The most wicked behavior is talking ill about others, especially behind their backs to somebody else. So there is a very interesting Subhashitam which says, Aho khala bhujangasya vichitroyam vadakramaha. There is a bhujanga, or there is a snake called khala. Khala means cunningness, and its method of killing is very, very strange. Anyasya dashati shrotram anyah pranair viyujyate. It bites somebody else's ear and it removes the life from somebody else. And here it is not mentioned. That person who does this is also completely hurt. His personality is hurt first. When we backbite about somebody, when we speak ill about somebody, we hurt ourselves, we hurt the person to whom we are saying this, we hurt the mind of this person, and because it is about somebody and somebody's life story is being wrongly represented, or even if the story is right, it is not appropriate or it does not help the person to tell somebody else, some unconcerned person, about somebody else's life story. So um, that person's fame is also being destroyed. That person is also getting a bad name. The person to whom you are speaking is also being disturbed because of that, because he may have a right opinion about that person, which is the best thing to have about anybody. And because somebody else has said somebody to this person, he is having now a wrong opinion, so you have disturbed his mind. And in the process, one cannot cause disturbance to others without expressing disturbance in themselves. They have disturbed their own minds also. So it is, Paishunyam is paradushanam, which means it is being said not to engage in destroying another person's reputation by talking ill of others. Yaksha uvacha, 112th question. Yaksha uvacha धर्मस्थाक्षार्थश्च कामश्च परस्पर विरोधिनः येषां नित्यविरुद्धानां कथमेकत्र संगमः. Yudhishthira replies, Yudhishthira uvacha yada dharmascha bharya cha parasparavashanugau tada dharmartha kamanam trayanam api sangamah. Very interesting question. There are 4 purusharthas. Purushartha means a goal, the goal of life for a human being. They are dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Here the question is only about dharma, artha, and kama. What is dharma? Doing one's own duties, one's own responsibilities is dharma. Being good, doing good is dharma. Artha is seeking wealth. Kama is fulfilling one's own desires. Desires by using that wealth for this and that. There's dharma, artha, and kama. Doing one's own duty may not always bring a lot of riches and wealth. If I want lots of riches and wealth, I have to abandon my duty and go behind wealth. If I want to go behind wealth, then dharma and kama will not be fulfilled, because I may go behind many things which are not in tune with dharma or proper responsibility, proper qualities, goodness. It may not be in tune with kama also. I may not be able to enjoy my life because I am in pursuit of wealth. So the question is, Yaksha says, dharma, artha, kama are paraspara virodhis. They are always antagonistic to each other. When will they come together for a human being? So Yudhishthira says, tada yada dharmascha bharyacha paraspara vashanuga. When a human being, when a man follows dharma, and he has also got a wife, and the wife also, she's called Saha Dharmacharini. The role of the wife in our Shastras is to follow dharma along with the husband. And when this person has got a wife and she's a Saha Dharmacharini, she follows dharma, then artha and kama will also follow. Which means that dharma is so empowered because the woman is also following along with the man. And then artha and kama like to follow dharma. Artha means wealth will also follow. Kama means all their desires will be fulfilled. So if the husband and wife in a family live a life of dharma, then there will be a lot of wealth in that family. There will be no dearth of wealth. All wealth will be theirs. And all desires, all good desires, dharmic desires will be fulfilled in that family. So if we want wealth, if we want our desires to be fulfilled in this life, then following the path of dharma as a family is very important. So there are many women examples in our Shastras, in our Puranas and Itihasas. Kunti is there. Kunti is the mother of the Pandavas. In all great difficulties, she took upon Madri's children. Madri died along with her husband Pandu, and Nakula and Sahadeva were Madri's children. She handed them over to Kunti, and Kunti took so much great care of them, and she instilled that kind of a devotion towards the other 2 brothers that even this Yaksha Prashna, finally when the Yaksha says, I'm very happy, now tell me whose life you want first. Yudhishthira says, I can give life to one person. So Yudhishthira forgets about his own brothers. He says, let Nakula or Sahadeva, Madri's children, you give life to one of Madri's children. And so Yaksha was very happy finally, and he gave life to all of them. So Kunti is one example. And all the difficulties that she went through in the forest along with the Pandavas, staying with them and going through all the tough times along with her sons. Mandodari, even though Ravana was such a violent person, even though Ravana was such a lusty person, Mandodari was a faithful wife to Ravana till the end. Anasuya, she is a Rishi's wife. Sita, Rama's wife. Savitri, who brought Satyavan back from the dead, went to Yamaloka, fought with Yama, and brought back Satyavan alive, made Yama bless her. She fell at Yama's feet. Yama was not listening to her. Satyavan, he has taken Satyavan. to the world of the dead. Savitri follows Yama and talks to him. Please send him, please send him. Yama is not responding at all. Then finally, she falls at Yama's feet, and by mistake, Yama blesses her. Dirgha Sumangali Baba. May you have children. I said, now you asked, you said I should have children. How can I have children when you take away my husband? Give back my husband. And so Satyavan came back to life. Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas, who also went through a lot of difficulties, but still she came out successful along with her family, supporting the family throughout. So this verse shows the importance of a woman who follows dharma. So here he is not talking about a woman married to a man. Woman naturally, when they are married, she becomes a saha dharmacharini. But when the dharma and woman go together, then in that place artha and kama. When women follow dharma, the other way of understanding this is when women follow dharma, artha, and there will be wealth, and all desires of the family will be fulfilled. Question 113. Akshayaha narakaha kena prapsyate. Very interesting. These questions are, when does a person attain hell? Which means, why should we know this? We should know this so that we don't do those things which send us to hell. Whether it is true or not, we have to study the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and the Puranas with a great Shraddha, because the persons who wrote this are not ordinary people who write for winning Booker Prize or whatever international prizes and prize money. They are spending their life energy and life force so that the future benefits by following the good path in life, and they are able to live their life joyously and attain the goal of life. So when we read all this, if we keep questioning, is there really hell, or whether it is true or not what they have said, then nobody else is a loser but us. Akshayaha narako kena prapyate. Who enters eternal hellfire? Brahmanam swayamahuya yachamanam akinchanam paschat nastiti yaf bruyat saha akshayam narakam vrajet. One person who calls a Brahmana. Why a Brahmana? A Brahmana is given to a life of poverty, not because he does not have the capacity to earn money, not because he is lazy or he is indolent or indifferent. He is remaining so because he has chosen a life of poverty. Daridryam Brahmana Rakshanam. So he has chosen a life of poverty, and so that he will be able to contemplate on the divine, spend his life like minimum earnings which he gets through begging. He asks other people to contribute, or he does. His work is yajanam, yajanam. Yajanam means doing yajnas every day in his own home, and yajanam, helping others to do their yajnas and homas. Danam, parigraham, giving things, giving money, giving knowledge, and receiving money, receiving gifts, and keeping them for his own family. Then Swadhyaya. 1 minute. Swadhyaya pravachanam. Swadhyayam is studying about the self every day, or studying or chanting japa, prayers, and meditation is Swadhyaya. And pravachanam is speaking about the Puranas, Itihasas, and Shastras to others. These are the 3 jobs of a Brahmana. So he will be focusing his life on this. He is not going to focus his life on becoming an IT company professional and earning lakhs and lakhs of money. If he is going to do that, he will not be able to do these 3 simple tasks that he is supposed to do, and he is willing to do, and is given himself up to do. So it is the duty of the society. In those days, it was like that. The duty of the society to protect a Brahmana. And who is a Brahmana? Brahma janati iti Brahmanaha. The one who knows the truth, or one who seeks the truth, or one who strives to reach the truth, and one who strives to take others towards the truth is a Brahmana. And such a person who is an embodiment of very good qualities and is a blessing upon society, if you call that person, if that person is really poor, and you call that person, come, come, I will give you gifts. And that person leaves all his work and then he comes. And then you say, no, no, go away. I don't have anything to give. If you lie to such a person will attain eternal hell. There's a very interesting story. The mother-in-law will call somebody and say, come, come, come. And the person, he will come and beg. So the mother-in-law will say, nothing, I don't have anything, go away. The person will go away. Next, the daughter-in-law will come from inside the house, say, come, 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 why are you going? Come, 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 come here. Then he'll say, please give me some food. No, there is no food, you go away. Then he said, that's what your mother-in-law said. Why are you calling me and saying the same thing? She says, no, 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 she's not supposed to say that. Only I have the right and authority to say this. And so calling him again and sending him without giving him anything. So such people, they will attain eternal hell, everlasting hell. For no other reason we go to everlasting hell. Not for believing in God, not for not believing in some God, we go to eternal hell. We go to eternal hell when we call a Brahmana and say that we'll give some gifts, and we tell him, no, it's not there, you may go. Vedeshu dharma shastreshu mithyayaf vaidvijatishu deveshu pitrudharmeshu saha akshayam narakam vrajet. The person who says the Vedas are useless books, they don't contain the truth. They demonize the Vedas. They speak ill of the Vedas. They misguide other people into not believing in the Vedas. The scriptures on dharma, the dharma shastras saying do good, be good, don't steal. Dharma shastras say all these things. Speak the truth. Matru Devo Bhava. The mother is God. Father is God. The teacher is God. The guest is God. All these things, injunctions of life, are given in the Dharma Shastras. Books like the Tirukural also. The Brahmanas. Again, as I say, the Brahma Janati iti Brahmanaha, one who knows the truth. Gurus, saints, masters, Mahatmas. The true people who take others to the path of truth. Brahmanas. Gods. No? We go to many temples and places of worship. There are so many people these days who say there are no gods, there is nothing. It is only what we see around us. We live, we eat well, we rinam datva gritam pibet. The Charvaka philosophy. Charvaka means people who speak very sweetly. Charu vaka. Charu means very sweet, very tasty essence. Juice is charu. Vaka is speech. People speak very sweetly and convince other people that there is no God, there is no reality in this world other than what we see. There is no dharma. You can do anything that you want. You can say, of course, if they do it against a country, then they will be punished. But beyond what are the rules and regulations of the country, there are many rules and regulations of life that we cannot see. And they're all codified in our dharma literature. When they speak ill of Pitru Tarpanam, the ritual and offerings that we give to ancestors, the people who have passed on, our father, grandfather, great grandfather, and the whole generation, they give Pitru Tarpanam. So there are many people who speak ill of all that also. In our society, we see governments doing that. Where will they all go? We need to know, because when we hear them speak, we also are tempted to believe what they speak is true. But what is eternal hell? Eternal hell is an eternal place of a disturbed state of mind. What is heaven and what is hell? Heaven is a place where we keep getting what we want all the time, we are in a very happy place. We do the right things, we speak the right words, we go to the right places, and everything nice, good, and comfortable keeps happening for us all the time. And what is hell? Hell is when hell is, we know what is hell. Wherever we are completely disturbed, wherever the situation is so bad, so much of poverty, so much of discrimination, so much of fighting, where not a moment our mind is at peace, is a state of hell. So, when you may see that people who are doing all this and saying all this and behaving in this way, they seem to be in heaven. They seem to be in heaven because in the past, without their knowledge, they have been doing all these things, all the good things that keep them in a very blessed state of being. And they don't know that in the present condition, in the present times, they don't realize it. Because of all the sins that they may have committed, they are doing all the wrong things in this present condition, in this present times which they live. So we should be very careful that we don't want such a condition in our life. विद्यमाने धने लोभात दान भोग विवर्जितः पश्चात् नास्ति इति यः ब्रूयात् सः अक्षयं नरकं व्रजेत. Even this is very interesting. So there are many people who are very rich, who have a lot of wealth. They don't give any money to anybody, and they say that they will eat and they will not even fling their hand before washing it, because one particle of rice in the hand a crow will eat. So that much of miserliness they have. They don't give money to anybody, and at the same time, are they enjoying? They also don't enjoy that money. They keep it locked. They don't use it themselves. They don't use it for others also. Such people, unfortunately, akshayam narakam vrajet. Akshayam means no disturbance in that naraka, that kind of a hell, that kind of a, such people are, we don't, naraka is a very interesting term. It is not a hell that we go to sometime, go to some other place. This human body itself is naraka. Naraka, simple as it is not a hellhole or anything. Naraka means human space. Nara means human, ka means space. One who is in a human space is in naraka. Adi Shankaracharya says, Kovasti ghoro narakasvadehaha. Ghora narakaha. Very, ghora means, that's also not a very frightening word. Ghora means full of disturbance. All the time there is movement and change. What is the place where we are in movement and change is our own body. In that body of movement and change, when we have done a lot of punya karma, despite the natural movements and changes in the body and in the surroundings of the sun, moon, stars, and planets, and the days going by, the weeks going by, everything is changed, the seasons moving, everything is changed. These are all the natural changes that are happening around us. We will be living happily amidst the natural changes without much difficulty if there's a lot of punya, if you have done good actions in the past. But if you have done these kind of actions where we earn a lot of money, we hoard a lot of money, we don't use it and we don't give it to others, hoarding is sinful. Meaning, if you keep things and store it inside for nobody's use, every object has got a devata inside. If there is a simple glass tumbler, there is a being, there is a living being that is in charge of this. And that living being occupies the space. That living being is one form of Mahalakshmi, because every object comes from the earth, is made from the earth, and earth, there is a presiding deity of earth is Mahalakshmi. So she is there in every other object also, whether it may be a cot or whether it may be a sofa, whether it may be a chair, whether it may be a shirt, or whether it may be a towel, or whether it may be an idol, anything. One devata is there, and that object, it can be even what to say, it can be a soap box, whatever it is. And in this soap box, everything, so many things are there. There is a soap, is there, the plastic cover is there, this container is there. The maximum we try to use everything to the best maximum possibility. We also protect our environment, we protect the earth, we do our bit to protect the earth, and so many things are possible about everything. Instead of just mindlessly throwing something in the dustbin after we get what we want out of it, using every object to the maximum. Even the matchsticks that we light the lamp with or light the candles with, the matchsticks also, they can burn till the last bit is there. We can use everything completely, reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. So not need to hoard it. We, when we throw mindlessly, we are not hoarding it in our house, we are hoarding it in the soil, in the earth, somewhere, in some dustbin, in some dumping ground. Our stuff is being hoarded. So we are accountable for every bit of garbage that we throw. If I'm just going to take the soap out, and if I'm touching this plastic, if I'm removing this plastic, and I just throw the plastic on the road, I have touched this, I have handled this, my energy is there in this. So there is going to be no moksha. There's going to be no complete liberation, because a bit of my body is attached to this plastic cover. It may be in the Bay of Bengal at one point of time, because I've thrown it on the ground. So with every bit of thing that we throw out, we have to use it and dispose it off with great awareness. There are no two ways about it. So if we want moksha, meaning complete liberation, moksha means this body, inside the body is the mind, intellect, and life. This, we are thinking that this life is this body, but when we realize the truth that life is life and it is unconnected with the body, mind, and intellect, the body, the mind, intellect, and the memories, the subtle body, they separate from the gross body, and then the death happens. So if we realize the truth that this death happens for one time, if we don't realize the truth that I am that life, I am that consciousness, we will again be born in this body. But to realize this truth, the mind has to be purified. When the mind has to be purified, our actions have to be completely purified. Completely responsible actions we have to have in terms of how much we spend on our resources of the earth, our petrol and diesel and electricity, how we dispose our things, how much we buy, how much we waste. Everything matters in this world. Otherwise, a bit of our personality is always left behind in the earth, and we don't go away completely. It is like people who wear saris and there is a slushy road, they get into the car, but one part of the pallu is outside the door. It gets, the door shuts with the pallu outside. They have not got completely into the car, and until and unless somebody, it doesn't happen so easily. So the dirt of the road gets onto the pallu, and that person, when they walk out, the rest of the body may be clean, but the pallu alone is dirty. But the pallu doesn't belong to the road, it belongs to us. So in the same way, if we do not handle our resources in the right way, a part of the world will still belong to our mind. Until that point of time, there is going to be no moksha. So these are all the different types of hells that we go to because of these reasons. Question 114. Yaksha uvacha rajan kulena vrittena swadhyayena shrutena va brahmanyam kena bhavati prabruhyetat sunishchitam. The previous verses, they spoke highly about the brahmanas, and then they said, what happens when you do all these things to a brahmana, to that person. Now they are talking about brahmana. It doesn't simply come like that. They have to work for that position, they have to work hard, and they have to keep up that good work. Otherwise, they don't stay a Brahmana. He's saying by ancestry, is it by ancestry because I'm born in the family of Brahmins, or by conduct, my good conduct, or because I study the Shastras, or I have a lot of knowledge, a person becomes a Brahmana? How does one person become a Brahmana? Yudhishthira's reply is very interesting. Yudhishthira is a Raja, and he says, Yudhishthira uvacha shrunu yaksha kulam tata na swadhyayo na cha shrutam karanam hi dvijatve cha vrittameva cha na samshayah. O Yaksha, he gives a lot of importance. This 114th question is the only question and only answer because it's a very important topic. So, Shrunu Yaksha, na kulam. It is not the ancestry, the lineage, na swadhyayaha. How much that person has studied, not that. Nacha shrutam. What that person has heard, what is the knowledge that they have accumulated. It is not that. Dvijatve karanam. For the cause for a person being a Brahmana, vrittameva na samshayaha. It is that person's conduct. It is the expressions. Vrittam is from the word vritti. Vritti means vibrations. Vritti means thoughts. Vritti means impulse. We get impulses from this world constantly, and the impulses are received through our eyes, ears, nose, taste, tongue, and skin. The impulses are received in this manner, and then we expel through our actions. We receive those impulses, we process those impulses, and we send out impulses into the world through our speech, hands, and legs. Through our actions, we send out the impulses into the world. So it is this vrittam of the Brahmana, which means is the conduct of the Brahmana, how he conducts himself, what he speaks, what he does, where he goes to, the places he goes to. This is what makes a true Brahmana. Akshina vritto nakshina vrittastastu hato hatah patakaha patakaschaiva ye chanye shastra chintakaha. One's conduct, because conduct is so important, it should be guarded with great effort. The one whose character remains intact, such a person suffers no loss at all. But one whose character is destroyed, character is gone, everything is gone in life, such a person is as good as a dead person. So character or vrittam or conduct is the most important thing for a Brahmana. That is what identifies him as a Brahmana. So if a person is angry, if a person is jealous, if a person is accumulating lots of money and hoarding a lot of wealth, if a person is indulging in the wrong sinful activities, if that person is speaking wrongful things or speaking bad words, bad conduct, doing bad actions, we do not know about the thoughts that they think, but it is reflected in the words, actions, and behavior, then they are as good as dead, leave alone calling them a Brahmana. Chaturvedopi durvrittah sashudrad atirichyate yognihotra paro dantah sabrahmana iti smritah. Chaturvedopi durvrittah sashudrad atirichyate. A Brahmana is the one who identifies himself with the intellect and does work as per the guidance of the intellect. A Shudra is one who identifies himself with the body and expresses as the body with physical actions. So, the teachers, students, and others who study the scriptures, who study the Shastras, and yet are very wicked in their habits, they are all fools is a translation. But here actually, what he has said is, Atirichyate, they are not even considered to be Shudras also. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, there is nothing good or bad about all the four states of being. the 4 states of expression of human beings. All over the world, these classifications are there. It is not that it is there only in the Bharata Desha. People who work with the body and serve are Shudras. People who work with energy and serve are Vaishyas. People who work with emotions and serve are Kshatriyas. People who work with the intellect and serve are Brahmanas. So he who follows it in conduct is when you study the Shastras and we live according to what is being told in the Shastras, then they are called wise people. Otherwise, they are not fit to be called Brahmanas. Chaturvedopi Shudrat atirichyate means even if a person is well versed in the 4 Vedas, he is regarded as a wicked person if his conduct is not right. He who performs the Agnihotra and has a senses. So they are saying who is not a Brahmana, a person who does not have good conduct is not a Brahmana. Then having a good conduct and then doing Agnihotra, when you have to do Agnihotra day in and day out, then it has to be done with certain prescriptions are there. So there should be good conduct for doing the Agnihotra. So naturally it comes. So a Brahmana is a person who does Agnihotra and has all his senses under control. So a person who does not do Agnihotra and a person who does not have senses under control cannot be called a Brahmana. It is as simple as that. So with this, we will go into the 115th question up to 124th question. We will finish tomorrow, with which we will complete this whole beautiful text called Yaksha Prashna from the Mahabharata. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Nidamayaha, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम।